Hello again. We're now going to do the final pat, and we are going to the final of the pat, phase 2. You will see that the last one is a tab sheet report. If you look at our phase 2 marking grid, you'll see there are different things. You must read through these items properly. We will do some text files and a bit more we can write to a text file as well if you want. We've done already reading from a text file, but there must be relevant use of a text file to get the full marks and arrays. There's also one called dynamic components. I'll explain that just now. If you use complex code as well, and then you get the 4 marks, otherwise you get 3. Over here, this is all the database manipulation, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, so a lot of marks there. Sorting, we still got to do. We've done all of these except for these last 3. We are going to do queries with these last 3, and of course comments. You must put a lot of explanation and extensive notes in your code. And then we have these final impression marks as well. So we're just going to sort out the few things that are left, and that is formatting in a rich edit and queries. So in this button, let's have a look at our table structure. So we can do a couple of things. We have number of letters here, which is an integer, number of letters of a message. So maybe we want to display the average length of every message, of all the messages. So we'll do that in a query component. So we're going to say with dm do dodo dm do, and then we'll have begin and end. And then we will say query. What is the name of our query component? We need to know what that is. It's called query messages. Query messages dot active equals false. Query messages dot sql dot text colon equals. A query means we're sending. What a query is, it's a string that we send off to Microsoft Access. Remember that. Set grid column widths. We can do the set grid column widths as well. This of course, this database grid must be connected to the query component over here in the data source property. Okay, the DSR query messages, as I explained. dbgrid7, so it's dbgrid7, and we're going to highlight this and put it in those other buttons. So we have all of that in all the other buttons. Now, how do we get the average? You say select AVG and the field name, number of NO of letters. NO doesn't really matter if you do not use capitals. Letters from which table? The message table. You've got to spell message right. Now let's run it and see if average is the right thing. Message DM, query messages. Gosh, I've got to fix that on all of them now. Yep. Go to reports. Okay, there it is. But you see it says expr. then we have to use an as after this avg, as average length of all messages. It has to be one word, otherwise you must put them in. If you want it like that, then you use square brackets around that. As means it's going to put that as a little heading there, and there we have that. So there's an aggregate function. We call it aggregate function, or a mathematical calculation basically that gets done there. Now what if we want to count the number of messages that have been sent? So I'm going to say select count star, meaning, well, any row, from messages. Message table, is it, or messages? It's a message table. Let's see if that works as number of messages. So there, number of messages, count messages from message table. So there, just like that, you've done this particular one here, minimum, maximum, sum. Yeah, well, we don't have any fields that will be working with min and max, so yeah. We can use min or max or sum instead of count or whatever. That star means just counting rows. You could put in the word original even, you know, it will give you the same result. Or star means just let's count all the rows in the table. If you want to display everything, you say select star from message, and we can order by in this field as well. We can say select star from recipient, order by, that's sorting, full name. So there we have the sort done. That's a nicer way to sort. And then that will basically display everything in the recipient table and order by the full name. Right, now they want us to do some string handling. So what if we say we want to select full name from recipient, or maybe you want to select the full name and then the cell from recipient where full name begins with the letter E, say, or contains a letter, yeah, say it contains a letter E, or even maybe a capital letter. It starts off with the letter E, or let's say it starts off with the letter J. I put a small j there on purpose, but then for the wildcard I've got to put a percentage sign. That means anything after the j doesn't matter, but it must start with the j. Now that's a small j, isn't it? I wonder if you'll find any things. You might wonder about those two single inverted commas. Well, it worked even though it was a small letter j. So what are those two single inverted commas? Why have we got so many inverted commas? That is because if you're going to use a string in this string, it's a string inside a string, you must put two single inverted commas in front and behind it, and then this is the one, that last inverted comma basically closes up this whole string. So there. That's basically doing anything that starts. If you want to find all the names of people that might include all the words, you know, hat. Then you would basically put anything that has that word hat in it, then you'll put a wildcard before and a wildcard after. That percentage sign or wildcard stands for anything, whether it's something or nothing, before the word hat. So any name that contains this hat. Or maybe you want to do it in the messages, find messages that contain a certain set of words. You can follow the same concept here, except you'd say select. Let's go and do messages so you get an idea. Let's say we want to select the original and the date sent. Let's say we want to select original, comma, date sent field from message table where original contains the word hat. Original, like that. Okay, and you get your full marks, I mean your 2 marks for that. Yeah, now we've got a couple of calculations, then one query using 2 tables. So this is quite tricky. So select. Now let's see. We say select because we're displaying stuff. Let's say we want to select, you see we have this primary key, foreign key. So one message can go to many recipients. So we want to see all the recipients that received a message. So we want to display the full name and the email of all recipients that have a certain message ID. Okay, so select full name, comma, email, comma, and the actual message itself from, and we're selecting it from 2 tables, so we have to say from where does email original comes from. That original comes from the message table, and the full name comes from recipient table. So you say from recipient, comma, message. Then you say in your where statement, you're going to say where recipient. You have to have a where statement where recipient dot message ID equals, we're quoting the join of the 2 tables now, equals message dot message ID. So there's the join there. We're quoting that now in a where statement. Where is a condition. Message dot message ID. And now of course there's 2 conditions here. We want a specific message. Hey, let's say we want message ID number 2 and message ID equals, let's say okay, 2. Now take note that 2 is not engulfed in double inverted commas, and the reason for that is because it is an integer and it doesn't have to be in double inverted commas. But now if you want to make your program really meaningful, then we need to actually have an edit box here, or a combo box, you know. Yeah, we need a combo box that's going to have all the messages in it, you know, and then they're going to choose a message from the combo box. So we have to fill that combo box up with messages. So that's going to be a pain. So well, let's go fill the message. We can copy and paste code to fill it up. So there we go. With dmdo, you know, that. And we're going to go and put it in our TVS reports on show event, just like we did before. Okay, so it's combo box 3, isn't it? No, you can't tell me. Combo box 3. I certainly hope it is. That is. So when we get it, we got to go and get the ID, you know. So that's a bit of a pain. Also another bit of a pain. ID colon integer be found colon boolean, and I can copy and paste code for this too if I want. Okay. Yep. I'm going to copy and paste because I have to go and look for the ID. So in the let's go for edit message. No, let's go to delete message. So we can get the ID that way. I'm going to do that, and then we'll get the message ID that way. Right. Okay. Control C. So in this button click, yep, we're gonna do nasty bit of thing, nasty. Control V. Yeah, we've got that one. I got this one. So at the end of this, we should have CM combo box 3. Combo box 3. You see, I'm getting lazy to go and give names to my combo boxes, but you mustn't. Right, so then we get our ID, and then now, what are we going to do now? Now we're going to go and use our ID in this string. Instead of saying message equal to 2, we've got to cut that string short there and say quoted str open brackets int to string, because remember it's not a string, it's int to string RID, and then we have to close that bracket as well. See that? So now instead of the number 2 being written there, we convert it to a string. It's an integer, we convert it to string, and we close the bracket. Now if we were looking for an actual string, that'll be quoted str, but you can do that next year. So that should work. Shall we see? Oops. Right. So just an end missing. I hope I'm recording. Yes, I am. I hope you can hear me and see. Oh, you can't hear me. You can't see me. Uh-oh. Why are you not able to actually see? I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this at all. This is not okay. Oh, there we go. Right, so what were we busy on? We were busy with, oh yeah, we were trying to figure out if this works. Okay, go to reports, choose a, this is a new one, button 8, special message ID could refer to more than one. That's because message ID, yep. We have to say where message ID, which table, because there's message ID and we've got a query with 2 tables here. I mean, yeah, 2 tables. Message ID dot message, and we've got it over here. Let's just say it the message table. You can either use the message or the recipient table. So I'm going to run the program. Go into reports, choose a message, go over there, so there it is. It works 100%. Now the next thing is the button 11. Rich edit, rich edit. So we want to set up our rich edit already out with tab stops. So you need to know how to go and do tab stops dot paragraph dot tab count colon equals. Let's say we want to display what things shall we display? well, let's say we want to display the two arrays, and we can sort the arrays and display them. You know, those, sorry, the 4 arrays. We've got 4 arrays, haven't we? If we want to display 4 arrays, then we've got email, full name, email cell, message ID. Where's my arrays? It's ARR names, AR email, AR cell, AR names, email, and cell. Let's maybe we just want to display those. So that'll be tab stop of 2, and then we'll do the dot tabs thingamajiggy, dot tab number 0. So maybe we'll make that 80, and then tab number 1. But what if we wanted to display from the database grid? We'll use the same concept, okay, and that will be like, say, 180. There's only 2 tab stops. Then we already out dot clear, and then we're going to use a for loop for k equals 1, 2. What about sorting, the sorting algorithm? Maybe you forgot about it, but yeah, you have to know about it. For L colon equals k plus 1 to r count, k plus 1 to r count do begin and end. So you sort. So if AR names, you want to box number k, if you want to go in alphabetical order, box number L. Then we're going to swap them, but we have to swap all the other 4s as well. Oh, we have to have temporary variables there. S temp itemp, because there's an array of integers as well. 1 is temp 2. We don't really need 3. Probably only need 1. S temp 1. S temp 1 equals AR names box number k. Oh, for heaven's sake, what's the matter with me? I've gone mad, yeah. Temp 1 equals AR names box number k. AR names is low shading right now, so I can't see my keyboard so well. Never mind. AR names box number k equals AR names box number L. It'll become easier when we use our thing, and then AR names box number L colon equals S temp. Now we've got to do the same with the other arrays as well. One is cell phone, email, and that ID thingy. So now I'm going to use my autofill thingy. So S temp 2 AR email. And this is supposed to be S temp 1, isn't it? Yeah. So S temp 3. This is ARR cell. But this one has to be itemp. And this is ARR ID, I think. ARR mid. Yeah, ARR mid. It's ARR message ID. Remember, we added that in. And there's the swapping algorithm. Then all we have to do now is go and loop. This is part of the sorting algorithm. Don't get mixed up with your begins and ends. After we sort it, then we're going to go and okay equals 1 to r count, which is the number of boxes in the array, begin and end. You can have we're only going to display the names, the email, and the cell phone number. So it's AR name, already out dot lines dot add AR names box number K plus #9 plus AR email box number K plus #9 plus AR cell box number K. Now you might notice I did not use AR mid because it's an integer, but we could put that in now, but if we're going to sort one, you have to sort all of them because it's global variables. These are global variables and they're going to stay like that. And if you don't sort the one, if you sort one some and not the other at the same time, they're parallel or parallel to each other. If you don't sort them all at the same time, then you're going to have an error in your data. Sorry. So there's an example of formatting in the rich edit, and you can do obviously other formatting as well. Now where is it now? Not working. Where did I put this code? Button 10, yes I did. Already out. Dot clear. The lines dot add. Arrow names. Oh, you know why? There's nothing in the arrays. That's why. You can't display something that's not in there. And remember, we added recipients over here. We have to add from the text file first. If you're going to display from the array, then you must make sure that the people are going to add the recipients first. You know, like this. So, yeah. So now you can go and display the arrays. So obviously you must go and fix that up, and obviously you make sure that your rich edit is big enough, and so and you must put headings in, and everything must be neat and tidy. And of course the tabs here on your tab sheets must be tab visible false. When you finished your code, you go here to the left hand side, you click on your tab sheet, tab properties, you go to tab visible property. Fish, what's wrong? I'm going to go to tab visible property over here and make it false. Tab visible false. Tab visible. I'm going to click on the tabs in the, see over here, there, that one, visible false, visible false. Come on, TBS reports, tab visible false. Tab visible false. Can make all of them false, and then you think, oh, but there's nothing left. Well, this is what's going to happen. If you made sure that your first page is going to be this TBS home, then you see this is what we're doing. So this will work because you've made the first page that's active to be the TBS home, this page. And you did that in the on activate event of the form. Right, now what about dynamic components? Well, if you want to put a dynamic picture here for whatever reason, and it must be obviously something that's going to be worthwhile, so I'm going to put an image component, t-image, okay? Now, fine, it's all well and good, but actually you can't, you must put one on first, then go to the top over here and make a variable of the t-image type, global variable. So I'm going to call it img bird t-image. We'll make it img whatever, img something, or I don't know, face, or whatever. Okay, make it a T image type. I'm going to now delete my image. Now this is TBS home page control thing. Okay, in my on show event of this tab sheet, TBS home, let's say make it TBS. Where's TBS home? We go to the on show event of TBS home. Let's go find it. Right, I can put that image anywhere I want, but let's go to on show event of TBS home. I'm going to say IMG, what did I call it? Oh my word. I can't remember what I called it. Damn it. I don't have to make it a global variable, but I just did. IMG face. Oh, for crying out loud. Jeepers. Now I'm going to go and find that thing again. Yeah. There it is. IMG face. Colon equals T image dot create. And in brackets, we're going to say, what is the name of our form? Form 1. Okay, sorry, form 1. Now I've got to have a picture inside somewhere. Let me try and get a picture. This is a little bit dangerous, isn't it? I'm going to call this picture art. I'm just going to call it art. Okay, art.png, right. Then we still have, yeah. Then I'm going to say with img face do, because I'm going to do a whole lot of things, begin and end. Then I'm going to say we have the img face. Well, if I didn't use img with img do, I'll have img face dot, and then you have all sorts of things here that you can think about, you know, doing. Parent, okay, that's the word I was looking for. Stretch and so on. All the properties, the size, and you name it. img face dot parent. You have to say dot parent colon equals TBS home. I'm going to call it that. And then img face dot picture dot load from file, and that picture was called art.png. I'm hoping it's going to work. art.png close inverted commas. Then I'm going to say img face dot stretch colon equals true. Then I'm going to say the size img face dot width colon equals whatever I want it to be. img face dot length equals, I don't know what I want it to be, and img face, where do we want it to be situated? I don't know, that's the left, from the left of the left is that measurement from the left of the form dot top equals, I don't even know if that's going to work, and that's it. And you're basically just setting, that's the main thing that you do first, and then you've got to say who's the parent, in other words where it's going to sit. I don't know whether I have to say pgc dot width and height. Sorry, it's not length, it's height. Heaven knows where this is going to be. Right, fine. Yeah, so it doesn't like the file extension PNG. So I can show you what you can do if that happens. You can take your picture and open it with, if you open it with Paint, yes, fish. Then you say File, Save As. Oops, not Save As, just, no, I made a mistake there. You're going to say File, Save As, Open it with, and then you say Paint, and then save as, and then click on JPEG picture. You've got to click on JPEG picture, then go and navigate to the place where you want to save it. And it must be in the folder where your program is situated, otherwise it's not going to find it at all. Okay, must be in the same folder where your program code is. Now it should work. So now I'm going to do this JPG. You can do this anything, with a panel, with a label, you name it. Great, thanks. Oh, you know what happens here? I think I have an idea. It's because the Delphi compiler doesn't like, let's go debug layout, default layout. So if you can't find your object, your tool palette here, just go over here to the top there, and you'll see you can go to default layout, then it all comes back again. But I always close that. I want to get an image again, an image component, and the reason why is because I'm going to set up Delphi so that I can actually use it. So let's go and put a picture here to start off with. I find that you have to go through this process manually before you can go and make it happen. Okay, so there it is, fine. Alright, then I'm going to basically just put that somewhere aside, okay? I don't really want to use it now. Let's see. Yes. Yep, like I said. Okay, now the picture did go down over here somewhere, okay? But get the idea of what I'm saying. You've got to know which the height and the width and the length is. Now, I think I've covered everything that you need to know, and also, remember, this phase 1. It's quite a lot. You have to do a flowchart of your program, just a brief outline of the program on flowchart design. That's the screenshot of your tables and your relationship diagram, just like over here. You have to discuss your text files that you're using and your arrays and what you're doing with them, and then the screenshots of all your program code, all your program screenshots, what you're doing in each of these tab sheets, what are you actually doing in each one of them, and then you need to discuss about, this is very self-explanatory, and you also need to look at the marking grid as well. So basically that, I would say that's your pack in a nutshell. Make sure you look at the marking grid and involve yourself with what's going on there, because that is where that's what is being marked, and have fun doing all of this. Alright, fish, I've finished now. No, I don't want to exit yet. I'm going to do file, save all over here. We're going to go outside just now. Okay, fish? You want to go outside? Just now. Just hang on. I'm just doing this quickly. I know, my baby. I know you angry, eh? Oh my word, sweetheart. Where's my video?